22, and behind me you can see a upside down American flag, and that's where we are at in America in this season right now. Our country is in a time of great distress, and that is a pretty horrific sight. It grieves the spirit, and it should grieve people's hearts when they see that and when they see what's taking place in the United States and what has become of this city on a hill and this nation that was meant to be a light of the world. We're in a complex problem right now in the United States of America for reasons that can't be mentioned on social media, but I'll elaborate a little bit using words in a way that will not be picked up by the algorithms that censor Americans' freedom of speech, and that's part of the problem we're in right now. But two of the main problems that we're faced with in America in 2022 is that the government that was designed to be a reflection of the will and the consent of the governed has been violated. Those terms that we would govern ourselves have been violated because our voices have been disenfranchised through interference in choosing who our elected officials will be. And secondly, that millions of Americans' lives have been harmed and killed through the government's push and the corporations' push for injections to be given that were known to be deadly and that were continually promoted to the public through the news and through organizations and corporations and businesses. And so that's a violation of the most sacred and basic right to be alive by this institution calling itself the American government, although it is not, because it's violated those two terms that we agree to for them to have leadership or authority in our lives. So the problem that we're faced with is complex. There's been psychological manipulation used against the public. There's tremendous polarization. There's indoctrination within the school system and within the corporations. The corporations that are owned by these corrupt institutions, these corrupt leaders, are pushing critical race theory and sexual immorality that they guise as equality. That totally goes against our morals as Christians that are the majority of the United States of Americans' citizens. They've used this control that they have over the institutions, over the businesses, over the corporations, over the financial institutions, the schools, and this control that they have over that. It's a network to influence the masses and to violate the rights of the people by firing people from their job. They were all in lockstep with one another when it came to the V word that rhymes with papyrus. And they fired people who would not comply with putting something on their face or putting something in their arm, basically forcing them to comply and violating their natural rights, our natural rights. And many people have had their lives and their livelihoods damaged by this violation of our freedoms that the government was put into place to protect. And so they violated the social contract that we have with them. And some people say, oh, well, Trump's coming back in a few years. Well, first of all, he pushed the V for the past year to 2 years while it was well known that it was causing harm to people. And I voted for him twice before, but I'm really starting to question his ability to be a leader in our nation and his lack of morals on this issue. And if he's not standing against that injustice and continuing to promote and has promoted throughout the last year to 2 years something that was harming people, then he's not the moral person that we thought he was. And it's likely that he's actually partnered with these institutions that have committed these injustices. So this idea that we're going to get our freedom back in 2 years, well, first of all, it's not promised that he would be put back into office. And secondly, that's 2 years from now. Remember, they gave us 2 weeks to flatten the curve, and that turned into 2 more weeks, and that turned into 2 months, and that turned into 2 years, and nearly 3 years now. So it seems like they're putting some bait on a fishing rod for us to grab onto and to hold on to as our hope. But I would petition to you now that right now in this moment is the time to take action and to get involved and start to work for security